Hello?
Good evening to you, sir.
I say, I like your new yachting blazer.
Did you know I'm Britain's secret boring weapon?
Kiss me. You don't know what agony it's been. Yearning for you, yearning to give you my all.
But I don't want your all. I don't even want a little bit.
I will not be put off. Not after I've done for you.
Mitchell, no, please. Oh, your hand.
Maybe I could do something wild with a couple of creepers up his trellis.
Well, no. Here we are. Autumn's come in.
Kenneth, restrain yourself a little, please.
Oh, yeah, I'm virile. I'm butch.
Kenneth Williams' memorable performances on radio, television and film made him one of the best-loved comedians of his generation.
Good evening.
Kenneth was the funniest man I think I've ever met.
What do you want?
I'm your roommate.
Oh, no, you're not.
Come on, don't mess about.
But to many people, and certainly to Kenneth Williams himself, comedy was only a part of his extraordinary appeal.
I'm a cult figure, you see. I'm an enormous cult. I am. One of the biggest cults you'll get round here, huh?
Kenneth was, in the best sense, a brilliant show-off.
I look in the mirror and think, oh, that, you know, what a dish, I think. Oh.
He was a melancholic, depressed man shot through with moments of delight.
He was a very angry, unhappy, lonely man who, out of that, found a tremendous kind of comedy.
I mean, they all think I'm the most diverting, original, brilliant, energetic creature that ever walked across a stage.
He was a man with so many facets, so many characters, and he wanted you to see them all at once, immediately. Now, 12 of them, one after the other. I mean, he would... If one said, you know, would the real Kenneth Williams stand up, I don't think he could. I don't think there really was such a person. Or if there was, I think he kept that Kenneth Williams behind closed doors.
Behind closed doors for 40 years, Kenneth Williams kept a diary. When it was published after his death in 1988, it revealed the gap between the public performer and the intense and solitary private man.
He had a feeling of exclusion from the common pursuits of others. It must have been difficult for him to have been him, I think.
Kenneth Williams' solution to the problem of being him was a great success for a very long time. He invented a comic persona that brought him the love and applause of an admiring public, but his dependency on the character he created ultimately cost him dear.
I could have been another Sir John Gingold. Oh, yeah. Where's my early promise? I've had medals for acting and a certificate for tap dancing.
From childhood, Kenneth Williams had a sense that he didn't belong. The upper-class vowels he became known for were at odds with his true origins in a working-class area of London, just north of King's Cross, where he was born in a one-room flat in 1926. The family later moved to the poorer fringes of Bloomsbury, when Kenneth's father, Charlie, a hairdresser and barber, started a business which still trades today. Kenneth and his father never got on. He was a huge disappointment to Charlie, who wanted a son as tough as he was, as Kenneth's only sister Pat revealed in a radio interview shortly before her death.
Nobody got on with Charlie Williams. He was a real old-fashioned Victorian bully. And Ken used to just look at him with utter contempt.
A man I remember once came into the shop.
Oh, I'd like a blow wave. And he said, blow? You'll get no blow waves from me. I'm not doing no blow waves. Why are you? Blooming iron. Iron off. Iron. I'm not having no irons in my shop. Get out.
He wanted somebody rough and ready, shall we say. Well, not a bully man, but tough. Well, I always say that's the good old Cockney, isn't it, really? And Kenneth wasn't. He was very, very
quiet sort of boy, you know.
Kenneth found an escape. He invented a make-believe game populated by characters all played by himself.
So we used to play our game. And Ken was every other voice. I was only ever me. Right, you ready then? And these stories he'd cook up, and they could be anything. Today we're going for a picnic. How are we? You can use a red MG today, and he would describe exactly where we were going, what we were going to have to eat, who the other people at the picnic were, and home again. That was good, wasn't it? Yeah, I enjoyed that day out in the country, and I really felt as if I'd been in the country.
This rich fantasy life was not the only result of Kenneth's conflict with his father. From his earliest days, all his love was focused on his mother, Louis.
The real family strength was between Kenneth and his mother. And he said in his diary, "I will never love anyone, never anyone as much as I love her." He just realized there would be no other important relationship in his life.
I do love Louis. She's the only person I've ever loved. By love, I mean caring so much that it's altruistic, and feeling her presence when she's not physically there, and missing her.
Louis was very fussy. If there was any mess on the floor, she said, "Look at this mess, it's disgusting." And Kenny would follow around after him with a bit of rag and say, "Look at this mess, simply disgusting."
But there was another reason why Kenneth was always Louis's favourite, a reason that remained a family secret that no one could ever talk about. Pat was illegitimate, conceived when Louis had been engaged to a man who later abandoned her. 3 years later, Charlie stepped in and married her, but it wasn't a love match. That came when Kenneth was born.
Ken was her idol. She idolised him ever since he was a baby, you know. I suppose because he was legitimate, he was her baby boy, yeah. And everything was for Kenny. And I suppose Pat felt that she didn't belong anymore.
Then Dad would come home with his present, you see. Present for his son. Here you are, mate. And I go, "Oh, good, where's mine?" "You ain't got no present. It's for the boy." And Ken would open this parcel, see? A pair of boxing gloves. And he'd hold them out in each hand. "What am I supposed to do with these?" "Put them on your bleeding fist and have a fight." "No, thank you." And he'd just drop them in my father's lap and walk out the room.
But Kenneth's defiance of his father could only go so far. After he starred as Princess Angelica in a school play, Charlie Williams tried to push his son in a very different direction.
He said to me, "Acting's rubbish. You've got to have a trade, boy. You must have a trade. It was all din. You've got to have a trade."
And so Kenneth left school at 14 to pursue a career his father approved of, cartography. His apprenticeship was cut short, however, during the Blitz, when he was evacuated to Bicester, to the home of a bachelor veterinary surgeon. Kenneth had his first taste of educated middle-class life, and he loved it.
The house was spacious as far as I was concerned. I'd come from very cramped quarters. And it was this spacious with four-poster beds, candelabras he gave you to light your way up to bed, and a room full of fabulous books. His library was enormous.
Kenneth immersed himself in a whole new lifestyle and returned to London with a new accent.
I think that's where he got the posh voice and all that, you know. I think he mixed with people that were well-heeled.
Bicester had a lasting impact on him in other ways.
When he was evacuated, he was on the bus somewhere, and an older man got on and put his hand on his knee, and I think it went a bit further than that. And Kenneth said that, you know, when the guy got off the bus, it was possibly the happiest days of Kenneth's life so far. And why not?